Hey, I want to welcome everybody to our June 13th, 2024 board meeting held at Magna Water, 8885 West, 3500 South, the General Office Building. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I'd like to welcome the public and guests here today. Does anybody here have a comment they want to address the board this morning? And at our diocese today, we have Trevor Andre, Bo Lamper, Justin Long, Andrew Sumshin, Jeff White, Mick Sudbury, Danny Stewart, Leal Fitzgerald, Nathan Bracken, and Clint Dilly joining us with this meeting today. Again, nobody has a conflict of interest with anything on our agenda. If not, let's move forward to approval of our common consent items.
The minutes of the regular board meeting held May 16, 2024. Minutes of the special board meeting held May 29, 2024. Expenses for the May 6 to June 2nd, 2024. General expenses, $1,004,801, $712.77. Zions Bank bond payment, $1,002,994 and 475. God, and 55 cents. Sorry.
I'll second it.
Been motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I got flustered on that.
So we're going to turn the time over to our general manager, Clint, on a couple deals that you want to.
Great. Thanks. Appreciate everybody being here. Before we start, we've got Justin Long. He's our water construction crew lead, filling in for Raymond in the operations manager role, and same with Bo Lampert. He's our wastewater treatment plant lead. We're glad they can join us today to fill in for our operations manager. I know they told me they have confidence in these guys to come and fill in the board and what's going on. So
We'll see today after we get through with them.
Yeah, recognize them. I think they both got different direction. Raymond said, "Justin, don't talk too much," and Dallas said, "Bo."
Yes, no, right?
Yeah.
No, we're just kidding here. Leal's going to talk about, we wanted to highlight, we use this portion of the agenda if there's some employees we'd like to highlight to the board for some extra effort or great work. And so I'm going to turn the time over to Leal to highlight Tori.
Yes, so we wanted to recognize Tori Jensen. Remind me, Tori, how long you been here?
A little over 4 months.
Nice. So she's been here for 4 months, and we want to recognize her for her eagerness to learn, her problem solving, and the initiative to help the district. And in the situation that actually is helping the district is on our third-party bill pay or express bill pay that our customers go to. On every account, it shows a bar graph of their usage every month. And of course, some of them come up with hopefully usage all the time. And she noticed that there were some that didn't have anything on their bar graph. And of course, that's could indicate a problem with the meter not working or the house is vacant. And her initiative to just notice things, she says, well, why can this be like a non-working meter? And she suggested that we talk to all of us in the morning meeting so that we can recognize meters that aren't working sooner and quicker. And so we just want to recognize her for that and show our appreciation.
Well, thank you.
And for that, Tori, if you want to come, we want to present you with a gift card, so. Thank you very much. Do you want to sign that? Get this back. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Tori.
Thank you. Back to work. Yes. Just kidding.
And then, for the item H, new employee introduction, I'll turn it over to Andrew.
Yeah, I asked Ashley to prepare a little bit so she can introduce herself. If you want to stand and introduce yourself to the board and the rest of the team.
All right. Hi, good morning. My name is Ashley Wells. A little bit about me. I grew up in Magna. We moved here when I was 3 months old, so been a lifetime resident. I didn't, however, go to school out here. I went to school in South Jordan. I went to Bingham High School. Let's see, a little bit about me, my family life. I don't have kids of my own. Been with my boyfriend for about 11 years. He's got an 11-year-old son, so he's kind of our little highlight of our lives. We go camping, fishing, hiking, anything outdoors. Let's see, what was the other question? What brought me to Magna Water? That's what one of them was. Well, I've always, like I said, lived here. It's close, but I've always liked the community of Magna. Everybody's really close, tight-knit community. So why not work where I can help give back? So, yeah, was there anything else? Any
No,
questions
welcome.
for me? Thank you.
Glad to have you here.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet all of you.
Thank you.
We're happy to have her. She's
Go back to work.
got some big shoes to fill, but I think she's capable.
Then we also have Jaden Shepard, if you want to stand, Jaden. Dallas helped put this together before Dallas left. Jaden's from Stansbury, graduated from Stansbury High School. Likes to fish in his free time, fix and learn how to fix cars, UTVs, and things around the house. He also details vehicles in the off time. I think we've probably got something we can have you do around here.
I've got an old Ford Bronco that needs help.
And maybe you could just take a little bit and introduce a little bit more about yourself, about your family life, what you like to do on your personal time, other than what Dallas had highlighted.
Yeah, so a little background, I was a residential plumber for 4 years, so I'm very hands-on. I love just kind of tinkering with things, learning new skill sets. I am from Tooele. I was raised out there from the age of 10. I graduated from Stansbury, and just on the basis of my free time, it's I just got to keep my hands moving, So not too much to it than that.
Awesome. Thanks. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You were 4 years in plumbing. Did you become a journeyman?
Close. So they moved me to management for the plumbing side, and there was some stipulations with that. And then the way the industry moved, I just decided to take a new route for the time being. So I'll be here for a long time.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thanks, Jaden.
Okay, let's move on to our department report.
Okay.
Clint?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'll just highlight a couple things from the report in your packet. The secondary water system's fully operational. We have been working to expand the 3500 South pump station on the canal just out here. There's one last spot for a pump and a filter that we're just waiting on the fabricated piping. I think Justin said they have everything else.
Yeah, we have everything that we needed in-house. We're just waiting on the fabrication parts to come in. Then we can
And, we think we can cover, we're just pushing the limits with what we have during the very peak. We have to be running everything, so we don't have backup. You know, if something were to go wrong during those peak summer days. So this will just give us that backup capacity that we need on the pump station. I'll also highlight, we've got the CCR report. That's the water quality report for 2023. That needs to be posted to our website by the end of the month. Leil's got a copy.
Excuse me.
We'd like to have board approval on that. Joel worked with Raymond and Leal to put that together. So we're gonna give the board a copy, and we're gonna just ask the board, in the meantime, if you'd take it home, when you get a minute, or here after the meeting, take a look at it, see if you have any concerns. And we'll ask to ratify it next month, and send it by the end of this month.
So we will send it out on a mailer?
It's a postcard, right, that we send
It's
out?
actually a note on our bills.
Yeah, a note on the
And
bills.
then on our website,
Yeah.
both.
Well, surely it'll be condensed then.
Yeah,
Yeah, if we tried to mail these by paper.
No, we don't.
It costs us over $7,000.
So,
I was on the Jordan Valley call. I understand that there's been a change to go to 6-month reporting on these.
That kicks in like a year.
Okay. So we'll be on the look for that. We'll have to maybe do this twice a year in the near future.
I'm wondering if we could print these out and distribute them out at Reams and the supermarkets. Just let people take them. That would be a lot cheaper.
That'll
And,
replace the Magna Times.
yeah, I don't know. We just missed that, but I'm just wondering if we can make it available, because a lot of people ask me.
Sure.
And this has all the information that I've ever been asked. It's
And this
really
wouldn't be,
good.
this probably wouldn't be a bad idea too, if we had some of these and we could have them down at our city hall, so when people come in, I mean, that's just a thought.
Yeah, can, we make sure that we.
Yeah, we can, get, I don't know, 1,500, whatever printed and
Then people would kind
have
of,
them available.
Have them, they can pick up.
Yep.
And then just renew them each year. I like that
What
idea.
about a little postcard that they could pick up at
guess
those
what, that
locations?
would work, as long as we can get the information out,
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
I mean, some of this stuff is pretty deep, but for the most part, it really looks good.
I think you need to name the GM, you know, like on here, and so we have a contact number for that and the board people.
Okay. We can do that.
Okay.
Thank you, that looks good.
Okay. I'll also just highlight, let me jump back to the water here. I think that's all I wanted to highlight on the water. The wastewater, I know they've been working on the pipe lining and the manhole lining with Don Calvert. And also Twin D has been working on some of the spot repairs. We've got a couple of agenda items. Dallas had talked to the board about these 2 items, but we recognized we didn't have a formal approval.
Right.
from the
Oh,
board.
right.
And we do those annually, but we still like to bring them and make sure the board is supportive of that. So we've got a couple agenda items there. I wanted to explain what was happening with that. Let's see, and then lastly, the .com to .gov, we're all ready to go. Justin has set that all up. He needs to basically activate it. So it'll be 6 months, once we do that, of both addresses will work.
Right.
But we'll in the meantime, get people educated and have people transition and notify all of our customers and contact.
Yeah, we at the
vendors.
city's already transferred over, so,
Yeah, you've been through it, so any
Yeah.
hurdles that the city's dealt with that we can look out for?
no, just, we had a couple things the other night where people haven't been getting the emails. They've been going to so,
Yeah, that's always the challenge, isn't it?
So you want to probably keep both of them up running for some time and then delete the other one eventually?
With
I think
some
legally we have to
language.
have the com gone, or it won't work, something.
But we have 6 months we could.
Right.
I think that's what the city's doing too.
Right, that's what we're doing.
So we'll be on schedule there to be done with that. And then on the surplus sale, Leal's got the list and advertisement ready to go.
Got pictures and everything of the surplus?
I don't believe the pictures will go with the advertisement, because we've gotta put it in a paper.
Okay.
But anybody that's
But
interested,
anybody that's interested, we can have the pictures ready. Now, the pictures, of the items that we're doing were in the
packet
packet.
last time.
Well, they would.
We've already,
A few
we've
months
already
ago.
approved
Yeah.
the surplus. We're just giving you an update.
Okay, I'd
Last
like,
month,
But we're close, close.
okay, I want to see if you'll give me a copy of that.
yeah,
Maybe the city can bid on some stuff.
yeah, sure.
Yep,
Where would they put it? They don't have a place to put it.
Okay, and then lastly, we've got some coordination with the community. I think, Andrew and myself, and of course Mick as the council member, attended the open house at Matheson. I think that was good for us to be there. There were quite a few questions. Secondary water, when's it gonna be there to their house? It was a big question. We had one question on the RV dump. We had water quality and pressure, just questions. People were generally positive, and there were a lot of people that said, I don't have any problem with Magna Water, and asked where can I find this person? So, but I think that those are good things for us to be part of, and any opportunity, so.
Well, and it was a real great deal for the city, because honestly, it just got put together really short. And I didn't think there would be that many people turn out. We had about 175 people turn out to it, so they had a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, so I think.
And the providers was awesome. They were all there, and so people got to ask a lot of questions, and we had quite a few good reports, and we didn't have a lot of people email, and, there was a few, but nothing crazy.
So I had only one complaint on the RV dump, and when I explained to them that we're not in a situation where if somebody dumps something bad in there, it could affect our whole ditch. And they look at me like they don't have a clue what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that is a tough.
And I said, well, it's closer at the other places, so what's the problem? So I've
Well,
only had one complaint.
A
on it.
few of them didn't even know that the Maverick had a RV dump.
Right. That's
Yeah,
what
I asked, the one that came talk to us, I asked if she had used the RV dump, because she said the holiday one.
Tilts.
It tilts and you can't empty the trailer, and so I said, well, the Maverick one's flat, I know that.
Oh,
And it's roomy, and it's, and
But I haven't heard, anybody that's used it I haven't been able to talk to anybody that's actually used it. So I asked her to use it and then come back and talk to me.
maybe we ought to put a sign up on ours saying to go to these two places.
We
well,
can,
we could do that, but I think the majority of the people know that we're not in business anymore. And one of the problems I had is I've told people, that road isn't like it used to be down there.
boy.
That road's like a freeway down along there now. You got,
With us.
and then everybody goes, well, move the gate back and then just move the road over, so then we're off the side of the, it's like,
yeah. I can report that there was also a couple questions on some leak repairs, just the status of the surface replacement. They were out the next day.
Oh.
They were great. They hopped right on and addressed those issues.
yes, they did. And I got a call on that, and they said eventually it's gonna sink again. I said, well, then we'll just fix it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of calls on canal irrigation. So people still think of us, I guess, with the canals and ditches, or they just don't know what to,
Did you get your information from the canal company?
no, not yet.
Okay, I will call on that.
That would be
this
helpful.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told them because they need to have, the water masters and the whole thing, so, yeah.
So the question I have, so with people calling and asking about, the irrigation net, could we put on our billing who to contact? So people get their bill and it'll say, irrigation, here's the phone number.
I think, yeah, for
I
questions
had a lot
on
of
your
people-
irrigation ditches or your canals.
I took a deal on Memorial Day down here of a property off 8400 that's been purchased by the Colosmos, and they'd cut down trees and they'd put it they went in the ditch. And, it was starting to flood the one neighbor's yard. He calls me up and I said, it isn't Magna Water and it isn't the city. So I kind of reached around and got a number, and the guy says, well, I'm not it, but I will go shut the water off. So that helped because that yard was gonna get flooded. But also that yard that got flooded, that ditch is theirs supposedly, but it was dead land or whatever. But anyhow, yeah, that's, good idea if we could just get a number and just say these,
If it's on the bill, then that
Right.
would help.
Yeah, we could-
Quinton Redmond said he's the go-to guy. He's over all the water masters.
I know he needs to give us all a list of who are all the water masters in what area.
He did?
No, he needs to.
Oh, yeah. So he said he would do that. I called the last time we talked about it,
Right.
2 weeks ago,
Well, I
3
might
weeks
want to
ago.
remind him and,
I will. I'll follow up until he gets it done.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. That's my report unless the board has any questions.
nope, no questions.
Okay.
Okay, Trevor, we're gonna go over to engineering.
All right, thanks, Chair and Board. So engineering report, sorry, the image up there just keeps cutting out, but the water line project, they've finished laying all the pipe, made all their connections, along 8850. They're starting to tie over all
We
the
want these
services,
Yeah.
starting on the north end, working south. And then they've jumped over to 9000 West, where they've tied in at Main Street, and they're starting to lay pipe to the south there as well. Really great job by Nolan. We've had really no complaints, nothing serious. They had a little confusion over garbage cans early on, but everything else has been really good. No one's, they're helping everyone out.
And like I said, I have teamed up with the city to see if, when we're doing these projects, these roads, when we go in and redo it, it'd be good if the city, we could go in and just do that whole road.
Yeah, absolutely. So that project's going really good. The reuse project is continuing to move forward. They've got our secondary pumps in there and motors. They're gonna be putting in the other set of pumps this week, working on mechanical, the roof's done. And they're working on electrical in there, so.
Are we still on target for this fall?
Yeah, substantial completion September, and then
Oh, that'll be great.
we'll be ready for 25. Influent pump station, we've got that on the agenda here to discuss later. Haynes number 8, we're still just working through the grant process. Change House, we've met with a consultant and discussed what we're looking for. I've decided on creating a technical memo that will do a comparative analysis of sites with some costs that we'll be able to bring back for a recommendation on kind of direction.
Okay.
And then
You know when we'll have that back?
I'll have to follow up with our consultant.
Okay.
But I don't think, overall the analysis won't be a really long drawn out process. I would say maybe 2-3 months.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it, unless you have questions on anything else.
Well, I do have a question. It was brought up in the other night at our council meeting on Dora,
Dora?
down off 8400, and the back of it is Brock Bank Junior High.
Yeah. Track field.
Okay.
So, they got denied the sewer the way they were going to run it. In fact, I should have brought that today.
I did.
Yeah.
You got
was
it. Hold
like
on,
a
Jeff's
group
got
of
it.
8 townhomes or something to that effect.
Oh, they can't get the easement from the apartments, right?
Right, the easement, they're not gonna let him go down through there, so now they've got it, we've denied it. Luther. And, so I was just curious, because now they want to go another route.
So last I was told is the guy I was working with, the developer, had sold it, and I haven't seen anything back.
Well,
Okay, we need to make sure that we stay on top of that here.
Oh, that was,
a long time ago.
yeah. That was
That's
a
what
long-
they presented the other night at the meeting.
Did they really?
Yeah, because they wanted, because they were gonna move the sewer on Dora.
Yeah, this one won't work.
That's what they presented to us, though.
Yeah,
Are
well,
you
they haven't got with me, the new developer,
kidding, look at that.
so,
Well,
Well,
they tried to tell them that it was approved in the planning and zoning, that was approved in planning and zoning.
not true.
yeah, so I'm glad we brought this up today because,
Well, I
yeah,
don't know
and the
even
guy,
who
the
to
guy
contact to
that, the
start
guy
that
that was
discussion, 'cause
talking,
it's a
was
new-
talking off, he called in and he couldn't quite understand his Barrett, but he said, and then there was gonna be some that has to give him to be subsidized or some money or but, yeah, I just,
But there's no parking, there's nothing, it's 6 or 10 units.
yeah, 10 units.
10 units in that little place.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way for you to get me contact information, I'm more than happy.
Yeah,
to
let me
reach
see,
out
let
so
me see if I can get, I'll talk to city manager today and see if I can get you a contact
that
number.
false information being passed on.
Wow.
Yeah, cause that's what came out.
So this wouldn't work. Where did he get this information? He made it up?
That, I've seen that before, because I had that discussion with the other developer,
Yeah.
and somehow it's been passed on to this next one, and
Holy cow.
without proper communication.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Well, thank you, appreciate that. Okay, let's move on to, we're gonna go over to water. Justin?
Okay, sounds perfect. So the culinary water production for the month of May was 148.36 million gallons, or 434.42 acre feet. That increased 4.85 from 2023. Year-to-date was 513.41 million gallons, or 1,424.50 acre feet. That's an increase of 6.65 from 2023. And we've purchased 334.02 acre feet from Jordan Valley so far this year. Next, we'll go over the call-out report for the month. We had total number of 18 call-outs. 15 of them were for water, 3 were for wastewater. Total hours of 80.25. 60 of them were water and 20.25 were for wastewater. We had 0 mainline breaks, which is great. I feel like we've been in good shape as far as we made a lot of tweaks and adjustments over the last couple of years with the valving and zone valving and installing new valves for water to loop around. So I feel like that's improved tremendously from years back
Oh, yes.
compared.
What are the miscellaneous?
The miscellaneous is, as far as the miscellaneous is, if somebody calls in and I got a broken pipe in my house, my valve don't work, and can you come out and shut it off, or like shut the meter off? And a lot of times we don't like them in the meter box, because if they end up breaking that valve, and then we're in,
They don't know which way to turn it.
yeah, and they'll try and force it or whatever. Or as miscellaneous goes, is you have somebody call in something and they're very vague on the information, and it really turns out it isn't our problem, but you don't wanna not go out, and then it really is our problem, then we're in hot water that side, so.
I'm starting to see a lot more individual water lines that are starting to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna get worse, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's like I tell every homeowner we go to do their service. We're here because ours is going out and yours is the exact same age, just to let you know, you're probably on borrowed time, just a heads up. You never know, it could last another 10 years, it could last another month, but,
Let's not even talk about that.
yeah. But that's typically what miscellaneous is just random stuff.
How long does a residential water line, do you think, last?
Some of them 50 years, some of them, we've had ones that have only lasted, I've put in lines and 7 years later, went back and done our own line again in 7 years.
Wow.
Was that the poly pipe?
That was copper.
Oh, okay.
We've had a lot better luck switching over to poly versus copper, especially in the lower end of town.
Okay.
The upper end, where the dirt's a little bit different, we haven't had as much issue, but we've had a lot better luck with poly. But I've had copper 7 years, put it in 7 years. We're going back in homeowners, same exact thing in those same areas.
Now, if I understand correctly, some of them that were having trouble with copper, it's a grounding problem in the house, and it's going back into the water line and making little pinholes, right?
I had that with one of my pipes and it happened to me twice. Come to find out, my ground wasn't grounded tight. So hopefully that's it. And my neighbor across the street had that same exact deal, but it was at the meter. And it was at my valve that, you know, my tap that you turn on and off for your outside water.
Yeah. Wall vibrator.
We've had that issue in specific neighborhoods even where, and it'll only be the service, because once it hits the main, it dissipates and goes away because the main's plastic.
Yeah.
But if that main's copper, it'll just eat it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause ours is copper.
Yeah.
That's
We've had issues in your
Yes.
neighborhood just recently, actually. Well, last summer, so.
Wow.
And then as far as we wanted to touch base on the 4100 tank booster generator, the rock wall and pads in and all the electrical preps in, waiting on the generator, and once that's in, have the electricians come and wire it up. And that's about all I have.
Well, thank you. Other than that, you keep it all hydrated, right? All the guys to make
Yeah,
sure
we're keeping everybody hydrated and everything seems to be going good.
everything's good. I mean, we're all, okay.
Yeah, no, like I said, we had those few issues of, surface restoration, and some of that's in that new part off Washington where it's all the moratorium
Right.
stuff, so some of that requires, you know, they want 30 by 40 patches put back in.
Right.
Where we've dug a 5 by 5 hole, so a lot of times we have to wait on a contractor. It's hard to do it with no laydown machine and
Right.
for it to turn out a quality product, so.
So we still, no matter how big a hole we do, the county still requires us 12 by 12?
Yeah, so they have a thing written in their rules and regulations, and I don't know when they'll rewrite them, but they wanna go to a different setup, but if they say they pave 35th right here and we dig a 3 by 3 hole to fix something that breaks, we have to go 15 feet every way of that hole to repave it, and
Because of the age of the road, right?
Yeah.
It's driven, and then it has a window from,
it has a 3-year window, so once it crosses the 3 years, then we go back to just a 2-foot T-cut. But in the first 3 years, we're required 15 feet every way. So say I dig a 8 by 10 hole, pretty much I'm paving from gutter to gutter and then 15 feet each way on most roads. And it, like I tell the county, it's very expensive because in-house asphalt's pretty cheap for us to do in-house.
Yeah, right.
But when we hire a contractor, you know, you can turn something that we do in-house for $4,000, it's gonna go up to close to 40 grand.
Oh, my heck.
big difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference, so we kind of been in talks with the county, and I know that they've kind of talked to them, but
Is there a reason why the county is wanting that?
they said it got signed in at a town council like a county council meeting, and it got signed in to that contract, and they want to see if they can get it out to make it more feasible for the contractors, municipalities, because everybody, Kearns has the same problem. We have it's everybody in
So
the
is it
county.
the city, I mean, is it the city problem or is it the county?
And I've tried to nail that down as far as if it's actually the city, like now that we're a city, we could make it, have a different approach to it. But when
And
it
you
was
know anything about, I mean, you know if it's a city deal or if that's a county-wide?
They are county roads or city roads.
Right, but I mean, so now that can be our ordinance, right? To be able to change it back to,
That city can change.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
that's what we've been in talks about.
Originally.
Yeah, 'cause we're finding out that the counties.
because it was county.
All the precinct
They're
had-
saying things that haven't gone through the city.
cut out for you.
So before May 1, our hands were kind of tied because I had to do whatever the county said, and, you know, now after
If you
May
think,
1.
and if you think it's something that we want to change, we should maybe write,
When,
maybe
propose
have
a letter.
our attorney write a letter
Yeah,
to the
well,
city
and
I
that's
mean,
and see if we can,
If you think
that's
about
kind
it,
of the talks I've been with the county too.
the size of the asphalt patch is not gonna change whether there's a dip in the road, because that's from the subbase.
That's what they think.
Yeah, so it just makes it look, I think it's more of an appearance and aesthetic and drivability that does, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't really change.
They're thinking they're getting a better quality of product if we pave a big chunk like that.
Yeah.
Which in all reality, sometimes it's harder to match the bigger you go. Cause like last winter, we paved 3 of them in that same neighborhood, just small for the winter. Well, then we hired the contractor to come back to do a big one. And we had people in that same spot complain and say, we wish you would have kept it little because it was small and smooth. And now that it's big, you kind of feel
Well, you're trying to match old asphalt.
drive over it. So I know even the communities even said to us, like, why, it seems like a waste of money.
Yep.
you think you and Nathan could get together and write a letter to the city and see if it's something that we could look at? And since we're talking about water for a second, let's talk about up here on Elk Run. We've had the phone calls come in and I'm trying to figure out if we as the city own that piece or if that is county, that park.
That
Because
part
some,
was the county.
it was, but I think some of that could be still, but the other pocket parks are the cities. And that is, we met up there last year and Dan was the mayor at the time and he went with us up here when we had the water going down underneath the, down and then it backs up with that, speed bump like a dam and then it starts coming up. Guess what? It's doing it again.
Where's the water coming?
It's coming from the sprinkling system over there at that park behind Elk Run. And I'm not sure that park I heard was actually belonged to the county, but it's like, how would that be a county park? That seems like to me that would be it'd be the city park.
The only county park was the map,
And this one here,
but the Copper Park.
no, but I mean the Pleasant Green Park and
Pleasant Green and then went out on 72.
so, and that's something too that we might want to get with the city manager and address that to him too about that, because what I'm afraid is gonna happen eventually is that road's gonna buckle.
It's already spidered out
Yeah.
everywhere. They've slurry sealed it multiple times.
There's just nowhere for the accumulation of the excess water from the spring.
But last year,
Go anywhere.
when Dan was the mayor and we met, they were going to take care of the situation and they come up and put cones and they did whatever. And then again, this year I've got calls on it too, say, hey, you guys got a break here. It's coming up. It's like, it isn't that, but
Yeah, and we see, all of our guys now know not to go out on that.
Right.
for A thing, but we do see the phone calls. You'll get a phone call on a weekend, hey, this address, no, it's not ours.
Is that the,
I think the thing that is the most challenging is, based on my understanding, the county came out, did some potholing.
Right.
And determined that it was leaking, but it wasn't getting into the sub base.
but wasn't they gonna try to do it so that water went into the storm drain?
That's what we recommended.
Right.
But I think
They wouldn't do it.
but I think the results of their investigation is they don't think it's gonna lead to a road failure. That's why I don't think they've done anything.
They didn't do anything.
That's why, so I think that's the sense I get from all these discussions is, yeah, we've looked at it, we don't think it's gonna be a problem. Even though it creates a headache, for everybody.
Could
to
you,
do all the calls.
could you get with Nathan and write a letter to the city manager explaining to him what the problem we've got going on there? Because I'm afraid eventually that road's gonna buckle. Cause where does it have to go other than up through the,
Well, only some's coming up, some's going down too. so.
right? Okay. Okay, Bo, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you. Wastewater Managers Report, Collections System Operations. The collections crew has completed the CCTV inspection of the entire town and will now restart at the top of 9200 West. Camera inspection of the entire district can take up to 15 months depending on the schedule and system conditions. All CCTV videos and inspection reports are backed up on a hard drive and will be transferred to the district's new servers as they come online. So that's for the collection system.
Okay, great.
And then wastewater treatment plant operations, our new microscope. The new microscope has been installed and is now in service. The upgraded picture quality and capabilities will provide us with more time to evaluate and respond to process changes.
So Rocky's daughter.
And also, we would like to bring up pricing information next month for a non-potable booster pump and a return activated sludge pump to be added to our inventory as shelf spares.
And just for show and tell, we have an old sample from the microscope and then the new sample.
Wow,
Any of the details?
night and day.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, the color contrast is different. We've only had a couple of, maybe 3-4 slides that we've attempted with the new microscope, but yeah, it's incredible, the difference, so
Wow.
we're pretty happy.
And I asked Bo, what does this do for, you guys? What decision, how does this inform your decision?
Yeah, so our old microscope was that old bulb style that you'd see in like a car dome light, whereas the new cameras are just night and day. They are LED, the clarity, the different quality of imagery. It's a Nikon unit. We got a very, very good microscope. It's a phase contrast specific to wastewater. Not only can we see organism identification, but also flock structure. And it's great. It's awesome. So we can see how healthy our plant is according to how many organisms are in the slide and also the flock itself, you know, that dense flock.
What is flock?
Yeah, so flock is the food for the organisms. Yeah, it's a bindage of nutrients. I mean, it's cool. You can actually see the organisms eating.
That's pretty cool.
So what does color do for you?
So color, you can see depth. Like, I'm not sure on these two images specifically, but with the old microscope, for instance, the lines on top, you would just see like a shadowy line. Whereas with the new microscope, it kind of separates the branching from the flock. So you can see kind of the darker blue on the bottom slide. You can identify what kind of filament that is. Whereas the old one, even if you did like a 10x zoom, you just couldn't see like behind something.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The optics is just great.
Wow,
It's-
that's pretty good.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the collection crew for a minute. So I've seen them out there. They've been out, you know, marking the roads and everything. And they've gone back over some of these roads again and remarked. Is there any way that we can find out exactly when these people are going to come in and need to do? Because we're marking them a couple, 2 or 3 times, and that you know, that comes with, you know, a cost. And so the other day I noticed the guys were down kitty corner from the VFW next to Trans West, and they were down there remarking that road again. It's like, you know, and then the contractors don't show up, and then we have to go back again and remark it. And I think this is about our 2nd or 3rd time going around marking this stuff.
Okay. I know that there's a procedure, where they'll allow for a refresh, right, within a
Certain time frame.
certain time frame. And then if it goes beyond that, I think there's a mechanism for charging, from what I understand, additional, because we all pay into that service, right? But if we're going and marking multiple times, at some point, you're right, we're not being compensated.
Oh, and the thing is, it's like, okay, if they say they want us to mark it, okay, let's let them come out first and go to work, and we have marked, and then they can call us, we'll go mark it. Because
Well,
we've went through and done that.
I asked the guy at Google about that. I said, what, you know, how come you can't get on it? He says, well, sometimes it takes, they run into problems, and so they don't get over there very
For a
fast.
couple months.
But yeah, a couple months, I'm going,
I thought Dallas was working
He has been working on it
He has.
with the Google stuff.
to do that.
Yeah.
And right now, Magna Main Street's a map, they've marked everything, the sidewalks, I mean, you know, for the redo. Okay, is that your, okay,
Yeah, that was it.
great, thank you. So let's turn it over to Leal.
Great, thank you, Mr. Board and Chair. So we are all in compliance with everything, just highlighted are things that are coming up. Today, we will, be presented the annual financial audit, and then it has to be to the state by the end of this month. Then for second quarter, well, we have to post to the transparency website by the end of July, and we'll present to the board in August. The semi-annual State Money Management Council, they expect a report for the second quarter. It's due the end of July. And then I have our CCR report highlighted, due the 1st of July. And everything else is in order and we're in compliance.
Awesome,
That's my report.
thank you. Okay, Andrew, we're gonna turn over the HR to you.
All right, thanks, Mr. Chair and Board. First thing we'll go over is, you can see up here on the screen, we've got proof for the sticker that we're gonna put on the vehicles, or reminder to do their pre-operating inspections before they operate the vehicles. Currently, we've got this proof. I asked them if they could send me out a demo, and I'm gonna put it on the car that I currently use, so that we can see how well it holds up to up and down with the window, and then we'll go forward with ordering them for all the other vehicles from there. The next thing to talk about is the 4th of July coming up. We've talked about that we're gonna use the camera van for the parade. Matt Hunter will be on call. He's gonna drive the camera van for us. Mark Manzanares has volunteered to come walk alongside of it, and I'm gonna come up and walk alongside of it as well.
Okay,
In years past, we have done overtime for the on-call employees, so that would be for Mark. Just wanted to make sure that the board was aware of
no, I'm okay with that.
what's going on there. This month's safety focus is heat exposure. We've went out and I've done some safety trainings with each of the crews. The leads have been talking about it as well for us, and we'll continue working on that path, making sure our guys are staying hydrated, staying cool, and watching out for each other to make sure that we don't run into any dangers there. Last month, we talked about the possibility of doing the Bees game for a summer party. We met again this month. We're currently targeting August 9th. We'll bring that back to the board for approval next month with more information.
Okay,
As far as staffing goes, we're currently fully staffed, other than one position on Justin Long's crew. We had a couple more interviews this week. We're gonna have a follow-up interview with one of the candidates this afternoon at 2. Justin and I are gonna take him over to the shop and do some more practical interview. And we're feeling pretty comfortable with this candidate.
So you're getting plenty of applicants?
Yeah, we've got plenty of applicants. The interesting thing is, that we've ran into through this process is, no call, no shows for the interviews.
Oh, wow.
4 of them.
4 of them.
wow,
Wow, it's bad.
You call them, they act really excited, and then they don't show up, they don't call. I call them 5 minutes after the appointment, and they don't answer, and we never hear again. I don't know.
We've had a string of bad luck
Yeah,
there, huh?
I don't know what's happening with that, but it's been frustrating to say the least. Gather 5 people to come in for an interview, and we get all 5 of us in here ready to go, and nobody comes for the interview, so. Wow. It can be difficult. That's it for my report.
okay,
Unless there's something for you.
so just from the board aspect, this pre-op is very, very important, and we as the board are very pushy on this pre-op, and if people don't want to do pre-ops, and then we're gonna have to take action, because we've invested a lot of money in our vehicles, and our equipment did not have a pre-op.
I'm in agreement with that.
And I want to make sure that we're checking them to make sure that they're being monitored.
The leads and the managers have both been doing that, and I think they're taking note of the days.
Because at the end of the day, everybody needs to realize it's taxpayer money.
For sure. We appreciate the board's support as far as the fleet goes as well.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, let's move on to item J, project awards and agreements. Trevor, or,
Yeah,
I'll
so
take the,
oh, well, the first one, you're taking the first one. You're with the money, okay, forgot.
Peters?
so, this is a proposed meter order. We're still in the longer lead times in getting the meters.
6 months?
Yeah, 6 to 9 months.
How many meters does this represent?
I apologize, I don't have a total, but it's, 1,400, 15, so about 2,000 and 2,400? No, I needed 10.
little over 2,000.
Little over 2,000. So this includes the meters for our change-out schedule that we replace every year, both for secondary and 5/8 culinary. And then the other small quantities here are for like larger meters that need to be changed out or anticipated new connection.
Is the secondary meter the same meter as what we use on culinary water?
No.
They're different.
Yeah, so, for one, the size, from what I know, is different. The culinary is a regular 5/8 by 3/4, and then secondary is a 3/4 full,
Do we order yolks with them, or are they just meter
just the
replacement?
meters.
Okay.
So we're bringing it to the board now, so we can place the order. Another good thing about ordering right now is I was just informed that Neptune is increasing the prices. They don't know when, but usually it's around July 1st. So if we get the order in, we won't pay for them until 2025, but if we get the order in, they'll honor the
think we have
pricing
it.
now.
Hey, Leal, aren't we,
Yes.
we're staying with one manufacturer now that has been able to provide them
Yes.
in a good time, because you've had some problems with some other manufacturers, right?
We've been with Neptune Meter Works for quite a few years, and even with the lag time, the other suppliers, which wouldn't work with our reading equipment and stuff, but other suppliers, they were even longer.
They were even
So
lower.
Meter Works was still, and Neptune was still the best,
We've only experienced like a really short bottleneck. There was a
Yeah,
real short period where we were,
we were
Close
waiting
to-
for some 3/4 to come in,
yeah.
and it was like
Leal and the
2
team,
weeks.
she's done a great job of managing that, considering the environment. I mean,
Lag time.
lag time.
It would be nice when it gets,
So the
ever
meter,
gets back to
the
normal.
meter we buy for secondary, do we get, what kind of life do we get on that meter? Maybe this isn't the time to ask it, but
Those are the
Well, this
same.
meter, they went from ultrason, help me out, they went from,
Well, the secondary is a magnetic flow meter.
Yeah, so they're
it's
supposed
got
to
no
last
moving
longer.
parts. So it's essentially the battery of it that
Yeah.
goes. The meter itself doesn't really wear.
okay.
And I think the batteries can be replaced, right, in a
Yes.
10-year cycle?
yes, the
Essentially.
batteries can be
Biggest
replaced.
concern on the secondary would be the freezing if it's
Yeah,
not drained
that could
properly.
create an issue.
That's
right?
the biggest one, okay.
And these meters, I think, we were putting in census meters
Mm-hmm.
a while back, and they would freeze, Justin
They're
will know.
plastic.
They
The
would
Census
freeze
ones are
faster than
plastic.
these.
They're more like a chamber style.
And they just exploded, huh?
The new ones, like Trevor was saying, are like a magnet flow meter, and they're pretty much just like a pipe, so they drain out
They
super
drain out.
good.
Oh,
They don't
wow.
hold the water.
That's a big thing.
Yeah,
That's a big thing.
they're more durable, definitely, than what we were using before.
But 10 years is our target.
Okay.
10 years for, I don't know, these ultrasonic ones are supposed to last longer, so,
We just haven't had enough experience.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the register part of it that we'll have the issues with before.
Yeah,
the
I
meter,
agree.
You know what I mean,
That's a
like,
switch out versus the whole
yeah,
assembly.
How often do we have to change the battery out on these new ones?
Well, I don't know specific to this, but in past experience, they're like a 10-year life on
Oh,
that.
okay.
So it's like just change out the,
You could do the whole assembly or you can
Right.
do that piece. I mean,
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve meter stock purchase in the amount of $656,685.23 for 2025 supply.
No second time.
it's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Okay. The next one, is that yours?
oh, that's me.
Justin's
Okay.
gonna handle that.
Yeah, so this bid here is for our Haynes #7 well, freshwater well. It's to get, the pump repaired and replaced, and then there is an optional to line the old, lining of the column, and that's an extra $2,400 there on the optional line right there. But that's pretty much, so it'd be about $40,010 to get the pump back up and running. Right now it's pulled out and not in operation.
How do they line that, Justin?
I would
Is
have,
it just epoxy coated or, because
I-
they can only go down to the water line, right?
yeah. So I would assume it's probably some kind of, spray application or like coated application. Not quite exactly how they would apply it. But yeah, they only could do to the water line. I think it's more of, from my understanding, the top part of the column,
Okay.
you know, more where you're coming up out of the top of the head.
Yeah, they get rusty.
Yeah. And I
Then it
think
all
that's
falls
just,
down.
yeah, I think it's just more of a maintenance item to maybe prolong the head of the well coming out.
It's probably pretty old.
And just a reference, yeah, the original one was built in 2006, so we're about 18 years
Wow.
into that one. So it is kind of at its life.
And that's a good, we run that well a lot.
Yeah, and 40,000 it's in line with
Okay.
the new pump.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Nickerson Company repair estimate, $40,010 for Haynes #7 pump.
Second time.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hey, so when you guys do this agenda, could you like maybe put on the side of each one whose project this is, just so, you know, because when I'm calling it out, it's like, who's doing it? So just, yeah,
Who's gonna present it?
yeah, because I'm always, you know, Trevor, okay, no, this is so, okay. Okay, let's move on to number 3.
All right, I'm gonna touch on this. So Clint mentioned the repairs that we do on the manholes. Don Calvert has been doing that work. So he put together this scope of work and cost. And this is essentially for 25 or more manholes. That will just depend on the amount of work. It's kind of a time and material. So those have all been kind of identified, and then they're just working through that process. So, any questions on that one? Or?
Nope, I think that looks straight up.
So really, it's kind of a running total until he gets into the manhole. He
Yeah,
doesn't know how many
250 is
leaks.
the upper limit, and then they just go through the manholes and that
Okay.
kind of time and material on that one, and it takes away from that 250.
How many are in?
So they're estimating around 25.
25
It
manholes.
does, yeah, I don't know that if it says that in there
Yeah, I
specifically.
didn't see it.
I read 30,
Oh, 37.
37.
Yeah, so
37.
$1,500 per manhole.
It's an average
Yeah,
based on 28.
And he's done quite a few already, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I
yeah, and
thought.
we've had good luck with the coating and the work that he does. He preps really well.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve Don Calvert for collection system maintenance, repair, inflow and infiltration manholes, prep spray, coat manholes for Don Calvert in the amount not to exceed 250,000.
I'll second that.
Been motion second. All in
Aye.
favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the slip line, spot repair.
I'll take that one as well, thanks.
Okay.
So we've got Twin D, and these repairs are based on the findings from the CCTV inspections. And then, it's similar to the manholes, number of repairs will be depending on what they find exactly when they're out there, the repair
And
needed.
this is to eliminate infiltration?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, and, issues with those clay pipes and, that maybe are cracked.
Oh, yeah.
So is the liner they push down and then inflate,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
they
it's
heat
a
it,
cured
and it
liner.
makes a lining to protect?
Yep. And so they've got about 29 that they're targeting with that cost.
And what area is this in, you know? I mean, is
I
it
do
down in the
not
lower
have a
part?
map, but it is a pretty wide area through the town. I mean, it's not centered around one specific location.
Weren't they the ones that did it down by Harding's area in that low swamp area?
Yeah.
And that's all taken care of?
Down, yeah, and down off 8400 too.
84, and-
Western Drive area.
Yeah, Western Drive.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
you guys have any questions? Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the slip line and spot repairs by Twin D Construction in the amount of $139,700.
I'll second that.
been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
So hey Trevor, on this slip lines, would you be able to, I mean, when we do these, you'd have a list that you could give to the board of what areas we've done?
Sure.
I mean, that would be great.
Yeah, even.
Then that way
a
that
map
limits
image.
one thing from asking questions. Okay, let's move on to number 5.
Okay, thanks, Chair and Board. So we had our bid opening for the Influent project, and we've got our recommendation letter in here. Some things to highlight with it is we had a single bid, which was quite surprising for all of us, I think. It was from Corio Construction. The first thing that goes through your head is, we got one bid, how does this?
Yeah.
But you know what, over at Jordan Valley, we've had that too lately.
Yeah,
It's weird.
Yeah, and so what we found afterwards, our consultants were able to contact a couple of the prospective bidders that didn't turn one in, and there's a lot of work out there. So one had 4 different bid openings on the same week. Ours would have been the 5th. They had been successful, so that changed their course. And others kind of opted out because Corio, in their minds, maybe had the upper hand because they're out there doing the reuse and they're familiar. And anyways, then we also looked at the bid amount, and we tried to do some comparative analysis of, how do some of these bid items that we have compare to industry, to other projects, and we couldn't see anything that was glaring like, hey, they dramatically overcharged here or something like that. So we do feel that they were honest in their bid and that it is fair for the work that we're asking. And that shows in our recommendation.
So we had line items and things there. My question is, that's quite a bit, a sum of money, and it's spot kind of in different places. So have we ensured that if we run in, are there things we could run into that's gonna have
Add
a
more
in-
cost to
yeah.
it.
Like identified change orders at this point?
Yeah.
No, I think, and this is, if I use the reuse as an example with the same team, I mean, we've done a really great job of identifying those things and having those in the plan sets or in the specifications that I don't see a big issue there.
And they've done this work before,
They have,
so, and it's been satisfactory, so that's a good plus.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay, you okay with it?
Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to award,
Can we pause
Go
for
ahead.
just one second? Sorry. The price that's there is the $10,600 $530 and 50 cents. That is the base bid. We had a bid alternate for $119,388.
Right.
So what that is we have the pumps. There's two sets of pumps in the existing East Headworks. One pumps it into the screens and it runs through that. And then the other one pumps it to the ditches. So as part of this project, we're getting rid of that initial set of pumps. We're expanding that wet well. So we'll have more pumps that pump from the East Headworks to the ditches. We've got 2 new pumps that are part of the base bid, and there are 3 more that are existing. And that bid alternate would give us new pumps for those 3.
So do we want to go with the alternate 1A?
So I'm kind of on the fence in this, and maybe Bo can speak to this. The pumps that are existing are fine for work, they'll do the job.
Yeah.
We have shelf units of those exact same pumps.
Yeah.
So in my mind, we would utilize those pumps until they crap out and then replace them.
Because we're gonna use the same pump anyway.
Essentially, yeah. We have a shelf unit that we'll throw in. and
So, but the question I
eventually
have,
buy.
so when we go back to, let's say they crap out on us and we have to buy them, is it cheaper to buy them now? And,
That is untold. I mean, it could
well,
be
that's the
5
thing
years from
because,
now
but
when
the
we need
cost,
it.
but the cost just keeps,
How old are the ones that are in there now?
There's one that's been in there since the building was built,
Which is,
2008,
Oh, okay.
2009.
holy.
Yeah, and the other 2 that we have there, are a different manufacturer than the KSB that was in there originally.
okay,
And those 2 that are in, one has been rebuilt already. But like Trev was saying, we would like to keep those in the water as long as we can.
Right.
But with the 2 that we would have put in place, we'd still want shelf spares.
how many do you have
So
on shelf right
essentially,
now?
We have 1,
Just one,
yeah.
but we use 2 at a time.
We have 3 in the water, but we use 2 at a time, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
We only
we're-
have 1 spare. So what would the recommendation be?
So
To
if-
have 2 more shelf?
I think if anything, we would my recommendation is to not do the alternate bid, and then we could buy a shelf spare of the new pump.
Okay.
Probably save the contractor markup.
Yes.
They're not installing these. This is just,
No, correct. We
Well,
just
they
need to,
could, but
yeah, I guess.
so we can
So does this
approve,
price include install?
I believe so.
Okay, so the price includes them installing it.
Yeah.
And supplying it. You're comfortable though with us installing that equipment?
Like replacing.
Like a replacement pump? Yeah, yeah.
So we could there could be some savings there.
yeah. So maybe at a later date, we could approve 2 more
Like,
shelf?
we'll maybe put it in the O&M budget for next year type thing.
Okay,
Okay, I just don't want to see us not, if it's cheaper to buy them now, then wait till next year because things keep going up. Is it gonna hurt if we bought them and put them on the shelf?
Could
I mean,
even, buy them ourselves.
but these
this year.
guys can install them.
No, I understand that.
Okay, we got it.
Okay,
So, recommendation is to follow what's on there. The
Okay.
10-6.
okay.
So we'll stay with the main bid. Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the WRF Affluent Project, low bidder Corolla Construction in the amount of $10,600,530.50.
Second
In
that.
motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we probably, when we talk, we want to probably talk into our mics, just so people can hear and also for recording. Okay, let's move on to item 6.
Okay, thank you, Chair and Board. I'll take care of that one. So this goes along with the Influent Project bid award. So this is the scope and fee for the construction management services of that project. Stantec is the lead on that design, and they would propose to remain the lead through the construction management with Bone and Collins assisting. They've done a really great job here outlining scope of work by each party, amount of time out in the field for the different observations. Sorry, I'm just kidding. And, using this, looking through that, comparing it to past projects, other ones of this scope, this fee is in line, and I believe they've accounted for the amount of time and effort for this type of a project. It can be, you know, a little bit of a complex, you know, with the concrete work and the different special inspections, and so I've been very pleased with the way the Reefs has gone with this team, and I think it would continue through this project. So recommend awarding.
Okay.
So is Sandtech approved for civil type work, for concrete and stuff?
What, for the inspection
Yeah.
of it? I believe the concrete special inspections would be done through Bowen and Collins.
Bowen and Collins? Okay.
Others, electrical and that, Stantec. So they've broken it out based on their expertise. And
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve Sandtech scope for the fee of construction management services for the WRF Influent project, the amount of $733,799.
I'll second that.
In motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to item K. Presentation, approve the 2023 annual Frisco audit.
Getting the auditor on the phone.
Yes, usually they're present, they were out of town, they wanted to do it over the phone.
Hello?
Hi, Ron.
Hello. Hi, Ron.
Hello, how are you?
We're doing well. This is Magna Water District. You're now on speakerphone in our board meeting, public board meeting.
Okay.
This guy.
And we've got Leisle here who will walk the board through that with you. So I'm going to turn the time over to Leisle.
I'll turn the time over to Ron, because he's the auditor that needs to present their findings.
Okay, well, thank you for allowing me to do this electronically. I really appreciate it. What I'd like to do is just take a couple of minutes and talk to you about what we do as auditors, procedures that we went through, and then the conclusions that we came to. With a district, there's really three areas that we look at. We look at financial statements are materially correct and that those numbers can be relied upon in accordance with accounting standards. Second, we look at internal controls to make sure that they're designed, implemented, and working. And the third is that we look at state compliance. So as far as the first one goes, we perform a number of tests on the trial balance or the books of the district to make sure that those are materially correct. So we send out confirmations, which means we'll send a confirmation to an outside party to confirm the balances that we show within the district. We do that for cash, investments. We'll do that for property taxes. We'll send that out for debt, as far as your capital leases, your bonds, and then the OPEB, your other pension or other employee benefits, and the net pension liabilities for employees. So we send those confirmations out and confirm those balances. It's a great way for us to test and make sure those balances are materially correct. We also pull a number of invoices. We'll pull a number of invoices at the beginning of the audit. We look at that just to make sure that that the invoice matches the check hits the general ledger in the right period and in the right account, and that the controls are being followed. We also pull invoices as we're going through the audit. We do that for capital assets. We want to make sure that the assets that we're putting on the books match what we paid for. When we sell something, we want to match the sales price of the assets that we sold and make sure those are properly recorded. We pull a number of invoices after the end of the year. And we'll look at those to make sure that the expense actually happened and was recorded in the proper period. So if it happened in 2023, we want to make sure the expense is in that period, even though it may not have been paid for until the next fiscal year. We also do a number of calculations. So there's calculations and that are on the financial statements relating to accrued payroll, accrued liabilities, compensated absences, accrued interest, some of those things. And so we'll go back and recalculate those balances to make sure that those are materially correct in meeting accounting standards. And then we also do a number of analytical reviews. So at the beginning of the audit, we'll look, take the trial balance, do an analytical review, and see what happened from this year to last year, and against some expectations that we create. If there's something outside of those expectations, then we start to ask questions, perform tests to understand what those balances and what those changes are. As we're going through the audit, doing individual balances, we'll look at that again. As we're testing cash, for instance, we'll look and see why did the cash change, what happened in that period. And then at the end of the audit, when we're doing the financial statements, and those are written, we'll look at it a third time to make sure that we capture everything, do we understand what happened. So that's kind of a real quick review of what we do as auditors for the financial statements being materially correct. In your packet on the auditor's report, which is one of the first pages there, the second opinion paragraph says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of Magna Water District as of December 31st, 2023, and the respective changes in financial position and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So that is a clean opinion. That's an unmodified opinion, or the best opinion that you can receive. So what that means in short is that we, through our testing and procedures, we feel that the financial statements that you have meet accounting standards, and that those numbers can be relied upon as what actually happened within your district. The second thing that we look at is internal controls. We don't give an opinion on internal controls, but we do evaluate those to make sure that they're properly designed, that they're implemented, and that they're effective in working. We do that through interviews, interviews, walkthroughs, and questionnaires. So we'll interview Leals and say, okay, walk us through these procedures of how the financial, or how the invoice gets from to the district, recorded to the financial statements, and the process that we go through. We'll take a note, some of those, like I mentioned, the invoices that we look at the beginning of the year, we'll follow those through to make sure that the procedures are being followed, and the controls are being used. Through our testing and through the interviews and walkthroughs, if we were to find something, a portion of the district that just had no controls, or those controls had not been implemented at all, that would be considered a material weakness, and we would definitely bring that to your attention. If there were controls that had been at one time working but just weren't as effective anymore, that would be considered a significant deficiency. And again, we would let you know those issues. Through our interviews and walkthroughs and testing, we didn't find anything that rose to any level of a significant deficiency or a material weakness. So we feel that your controls are effective, that they've been designed well, and they're implemented, and they're working. So the third thing we look at is state compliance. So the state auditor requires us to look at certain areas within the district on an annual or once every 3 or 5 year period. So in a 5-year period, we'll go through every issue throughout the state compliance guide. This year, we looked at budgetary compliance, fund balance, fraud risk assessment, government fees, cash management, and Open Public Meetings Act. So those are the areas we looked at. The state auditor gives us certain procedures to perform. So in those areas, we looked at those things. And in our opinion, we didn't find anything that we would consider to be non-compliance with state law based on those areas that we looked at. So we feel like you guys are in compliance with those areas. So that is really a quick review of what we do as auditors, the procedures that we go through, and the conclusions that we came to. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has, or talk about anything further.
Well, I don't have anything other than that's awesome that there was nothing found. So, I mean, congratulations, Lyle.
Thanks to everyone.
Yeah, you're efficient.
Yes, so we appreciate you for taking the time to do our audits and take care of us.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And a shout out to Lee Isles and the staff. They do a great job. We throw a lot of stuff at them, ask them for a lot of information, and they know what they're doing. They're very competent and provide that information to us really quickly. So we really appreciate that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Love to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Very good.
Okay, let's move on.
Do we need an approval really for, we usually get a motion to approve the report as presented,
Okay.
Okay,
then I can submit it
so
to
Mr.
the
Chairman,
state.
I'd like to make approval of the presentation of the 2023 annual financial audit by Gilbert and Stewart CPAs.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 2, the interlocal.
Okay, I can brief the board and with Lee Isles' support on this. So the Arbor Park water line replacement, as part of their redevelopment, they entered into an RDA with the county at the time. And we participated in that and installed a secondary water line for them, basically in front of the frontage for that redevelopment along a portion of 35th and along a portion of 8400 West, with the understanding that we would be reimbursed for that work. Since we fronted the work, we would be paid. There was never, as they've looked into it to try to get us paid, there was never a formal agreement that they could find in place.
Of course not.
So this is what that is.
Don't you know?
No.
And this, we've had Nathan review this, correct?
Yeah, I've looked at
Nathan?
it.
And
I
is it
haven't
at a
changed
point,
it.
any point you're supportive of this?
Yeah, I didn't have any changes to it. I do need to approve it as to form, so if the board
Great.
signs off on it, I'll need to sign it before I leave today.
Sure. So we're asking the board to approve this so that we can get the money. We will get the money, not all at once.
Boy, I'll
No,
tell you,
but we
they've
will
got it
get like
stretched out.
260, as soon as it's signed, to catch us up to date.
We'll be on where we should be.
Why would I expect anything different than this?
I'll tell you, I think that
5 years.
they've had a lot of, our understanding is there's been a lot of turnover.
There
That
has.
was their kind of excuse to us, is that it's been passed on and passed on and passed on.
So what
They
about
wanted
the,
it cleaned.
they got RDA money when they did that project over there, and I wanna say it was like 3.2 million, Dan? Okay,
Turnover with the county, correct?
Yes, turnover with the county
Yeah.
in this department. There's
I
a
mean, I
new,
don't
there's
think
a
it's
new
the same
director, new,
People even when the RDA started.
yeah,
so do we get interest off this money?
there's not any.
I mean, you turn around there, this is a big spread out.
If we wanted to fight that, we certainly could push back on that.
Well, was that individual that I'm thinking involved in this?
I don't know who
I
you're
don't know
thinking
which
about.
one.
Only one.
Only one,
Only
that we
one.
had issues with Arbor Park development.
The panel of the,
Oh,
Not on, I mean, they did challenge it, but the county supported us in that challenge.
okay. That's a pretty good chunk to start with.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah, it is a pretty big chunk that they're gonna give us, you know.
we'll take the board's direction if you wanted to pursue that.
Well, I just wondered, is it taking 5 years to cover the costs that we're putting out? Is this our cost?
That was our cost back then, so we haven't incurred any more,
Okay,
other than just the time to sort it out.
so this was back in the day?
Yeah, we've already paid for it.
Okay,
So it's just reimbursement, pure reimbursement.
so that's not too bad.
Okay, so,
Blood out of a turnip. Blood out of a turnip.
so for now on stuff like this, could we have them front us the money before we do the work? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we could try and request it. I mean, I,
The terms of the RDA
Yeah.
limit them, I think, on what they can agree to. I don't
Okay.
know if it's in the county's
I mean, this is what
ability to
Ed,
change RDA language or not.
I'd be happy
Any
to
thoughts on
talk more about this in closed.
Okay,
because I think some of this deals with, some competence and professional character issues.
Okay,
Maybe not the staff. do it
So-
now, but-
so should we not approve this right now?
so, yeah,
No, I
Nathan,
think you can approve it now. Here, the question, this is a well-drafted agreement. Legally, it checks all the boxes under the Interlocal Cooperation Act. If you want to get interest on this money that's not in the agreement, that's something we'd have to go back and ask for, but that would probably delay.
Right, and I'm all about just getting the money, you know what I mean? Because I don't wanna
pretty
get
good
into
show.
where we're gonna end up legal battles and it's gonna cost us a lot of money.
I have a question. How come it's drug out so small amounts over the next 4 years?
Yeah, and that's part of it is with the RDA, they theoretically are generating more economic activity, right? So there's more money then to pay back over time rather than,
A little amount, though.
I know.
$20,000.
yeah.
So my question is, if we have any other expenses on top of this, we'll be able to get collected on that?
No, because it was all just for roads originally.
I mean, do we have any future
We haven't had-
maintenance on this or any other work that we need?
Oh, it's just on the capital.
Okay.
There's no.
Okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve this interlocal cooperation agreement between Redevelopment Agency of Salt Lake County and MWD for the Arbor Park water line replacement.
I'll second that.
In motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's, move on to item 3, approval of selecting engineering consultant.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. So we put out an RFQ for our EDR plant finish and feed tank. We wanted to do a study. And this came about when we were recoding our steel tanks a couple years ago, and we recognized that the EDR feed tank roof had some issues. So we had, taken care of that at that time, and then we started thinking about how we would handle anything interior on those tanks if they had to be taken down for an extended period of time. And there's not a great way to operate the plant without those tanks. And so we wanted to look at this in more depth and kind of figure out what's the best route to go here. Is it new tanks? Is it an operation change? Is there some piping and valving, or a combination of all those things? And I think that's what this will end up giving us, is some direction and some ideas on how we create some redundancy within that. So we had 2 RFQs, one from AE2S and one from Bowman & Collins, both very great engineering firms and well qualified for it. We had our committee of the management team go through that. And the winner, so to speak, of that was AE2S. So we're recommending working with them to generate a scope and a fee to do that work.
How big are the tanks?
Is it 500 and 250?
That's 500 and 250.
Oh, 500 gallons?
500,000.
Oh, 500,000.
Yeah, that's the finish, and then the feed is 250.
Oh,
And
pay attention to me.
we'll get into more of things once the study's finished. I think I'm kind of excited to see this. I think it will, whatever comes out of this will help us for any future expansion plus current operations.
So in order to do the study, we gotta drain the tank down?
If we were to do anything with those tanks, yeah, we would have to take them offline, and the way that EDR operates, essentially we would be using our existing tank storage and then either pumping straight into the system from our wells, which we don't want to do.
Right.
So I think this will help us in that respect, that we'll have redundancy and we'll have operational flexibility so that we can avoid just putting untreated water into the system.
Yeah, great. Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to propose a approval for the selected engineering consultant for EDR water treatment plant finish and feed tanks study.
It's two,
To AE2S.
AT,
A-
AE,
A2.
sorry.
What did I do with it? Just a minute.
Thank you. Sorry, you go.
For Bowen and Collins and A2, AE2S.
It's just AT.
Oh, it is just
ATES.
AE2S?
Yes, that's
Okay.
it.
A2S to finalize the scope, the fee. Okay.
Second that.
Been a motion, a second, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to number 4, resolution -24.
So later on in the agenda, we have a special board meeting, if needed, in parentheses, for our certified tax rate, but we received, do you want a copy?
I have one.
We received the certified tax rate from the county Monday night, so we won't need the special meeting, because it's here now, but however, it wasn't in your packet, because
Oh,
we
won't-
didn't have it till Monday night.
Oh, so we won't have to have a
No.
special meeting?
I'd be in trouble if we did.
I know.
'Cause I
So
had
this
the- I had
resolution-
the town meeting Monday night.
Oh, the one that has to be done before the 18th. Oh, shit.
This resolution,
Stewie here.
the one I'm handing to you now, legally, our budget has to match the revenue that we receive from our certified tax rate. When we budgeted, obviously, we don't have the information, so we take a good guess. And our guess was $8,000 too much, which that's pretty close. So this resolution adjusts the line items on our budget, which are highlighted in yellow.
Right.
To what the revenue we are getting from the certified tax rate. We don't amend our budget because bottom line, it does not change.
Right.
We're swapping revenues from one place to the other, just to make it match. So with all this words on this paper, that's basically what it's saying.
Okay, so all we have to do is just make the motion on this, right?
If
Just-
you would like.
To
Okay,
approve your money swap?
no, just the resolution regarding the budget amendment.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution 2024-02, resolution regarding the 2024 budget amendment.
We'll second that.
It's been motion second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, resolution 24-03, resolution adopting the 2024 certified tax rate.
So now that our budget's adjusted, we just have to look at our tax rate.
And it's right.
The tax rate came in at the
Zero.
O&M portion is .0000537. I'm just gonna hand these down if that's okay.
Okay.
You want me to hand them out while you talk?
Sure.
So 0.00573, right?
37.
37, I
It
mean, yeah, I
was-
get, oh, that's what I had written down,
It
but,
was
Oh, sorry,
.0000571. So it just reduced, it
Okay.
went down a little. If you remember right, the maximum that we can
Right.
levy is .0008.
So it
However, you
did
have
go
to go
down.
through truth in taxation to
so
do
it did
that.
go down.
Yeah,
Wow.
not as much as I thought it would, but it did go down.
But anything on the downfall's good.
Yeah.
We only generated $65,000 more on new growth this last year,
Really?
which surprises me. But
Yeah, that's all. Huh.
Um,
Well, then with the interest rate and that stuff though, you know, with the price of housing and,
yeah.
The one comment I will say that I was, just another approach for the board to consider, I think it's legitimate. Jordan Valley,
right,
they just made a motion and resolution because they didn't have their rate.
right.
So they made a motion and resolution that they would adopt whatever that is.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
if you've done that
never.
before. But that, you would have to just go by whatever that county rate is, which we usually do.
Because we can't change with their calculation
Right.
unless we've went through the truth and taxation back in October.
Right, so it might give us another
That's
option.
a good idea. I've never
Just to-
thought of that.
Just to, and I think it passed their legal test.
No, you can do that, it's just, this worked out in the
Yeah,
timing
this
of your
worked
meeting.
out.
Thank
but-
heavens, yeah.
But rather than making a special meeting, all I'm saying is we do have, the board has that option. We could do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, wow.
And the only thing I would add to that, Clint, is we don't need to do a budget hearing for this because we're not increasing any of the line items.
Right.
And so this is, now if we were to say, have some sort of change that we get from the county that would incentivize us
Yeah.
to make other changes, then we would have to do perhaps a budget hearing, but I haven't seen you guys ever do that in my tenure with you. So
No.
I think that's a good idea in the future. If when we
it's
get to
not
this
here.
June meeting, if it's not here, we just draft that so that it's ready to go, whatever it is. However, I do like the fact that we have the specificity with these.
And we would still need to do the amendment to the.
Yeah, we could do that the next,
Yeah.
next board meeting, but,
Anyways, just a comment.
yeah, that's a good thought. And then, sorry, the other portion of the tax rate is a levy for collecting our debt payment bonds, our
Yes.
bond payments. Our bond payments that we're levying for this year to pay in 2025 is $2,269,014. That rate on the valuation we were given is 0.000884, which it went down a little bit also. So we're proposing to adopt a total tax rate for 2024 for 0.001421.
Right here,
1421 or
Yeah.
31?
421.
21, okay. Yeah, that's what I see on the back page.
Okay.
Once this
So
is
are we
approved.
just approving this resolution? then?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2024-03, resolution adopting a 2024 certified tax rate.
I'll second that.
Been motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Information discussing only, no items, no action items.
Thanks, Chair and Board. The first one there is the SCADA needs assessment. This is for our drinking water and our secondary water kind of off-site facilities. So we worked with the A2S. They have a really robust SCADA team over there. They've got SCADA technicians, they've got electrical engineers, great experience with all of the different components necessary for a SCADA system. So they went through each of our sites, every single well house, every single booster pump station. They went to our EDR treatment plant, and they identified all of the different components that we have there, as well as the software that we utilize. And in doing so, they've come up with a number of recommendations within this report, and it gives us a great roadmap, I think, kind of moving forward, as we look to kind of more modernize the way we operate those, the data that we gather, the security systems that we use, to just make it more robust for us in our daily use, as well as, against those threats of cybersecurity and such. And so we just wanted to highlight this to the board, and essentially the bottom line recommendation is that some of the things that we have out there, or the majority of them, the radio antennas, they're becoming old. The models aren't available anymore. There's opportunity for upgrading that through new radios, or as recommended in here, a cellular network. Also changing out the RTUs for PLCs, which have more capability for data collection. And then also we have good software at the EDR on the main computer that runs the EDR, and kind of bring everything to that where we can utilize that software in a more productive way, efficient way, to its full, right? Full advantage of that. And they also, as part of this, did a cost analysis towards the end of the report, page 18, I guess about midway there, where they, looked at the design of all new SCADA system throughout, bidding, programming, equipment, for a total of $660,500. Now, I think some of that is if we were to go and do everything all at once and just, boom, get a new SCADA system throughout. I think there are portions of this where we can, kind of work through that in phases, so it's not all a huge cost at once.
Who will build the phase map?
I believe we would continue with A2S with their in-house capabilities.
And you'll figure out a budget phase map of what we need to
Yeah, I think that would be a good direction for us. I think at some point it's gonna be a big push, but I think there are smaller pieces that we can phase out initially to start this.
So Clint, we talked about you being able to access this information from your office. Will this do that?
Yeah, it would give us that capability. And it would help with our yearly reporting on water use, our data collection, our master planning, all those things.
It would help too to be able to have make decisions on operations of the EDR plant if we had real time.
Yeah.
They were all tied in with the wells and water quality.
And more comparative data year over year, which we don't have a good.
This is quite an
ability to.
overhaul. I mean, to me, it seems awfully inexpensive for all the equipment we're replacing or upgrading, right?
Yeah.
This, I mean, it seems like a low number to me. That this would cover just equipment or labor and equipment.
It's got the installation in there as well, so programming, bidding, the design of it all, installation and equipment.
That sounds like don't you think that sounds like a good price?
Oh, yeah, I think
That's what I said,
An estimate right now.
It's only an estimate, yeah.
Based on work they've done recently and similar.
Design bidding is very certain as we go through that process, we learn more about the installation and equipment, but it's definitely a ballpark.
It's been needed for,
That's what I'm
5 or
saying. I'm
6
kind of
years.
like saying, let's bite the bullet and just do it.
Well, if you want, what we can do is work with A2S to develop a scope and a fee for the work. And
Okay, are you guys okay with that?
so can we make a motion to approve them moving ahead on this?
I think we would come back, we would take direction from the board to come back with that scope and fee.
Okay,
for
we'll do that. Come back with it, yeah,
Okay,
for next month.
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, thank you. So our possibly board meeting is gonna be June, we don't need to do that now, or do we? No, we don't need to do that.
Oh, we're out.
We're out.
We got it done.
And so our next board meeting will be July 11th at 10 o'clock here.
July 11th, okay. Which is a week after the 4th.
Yep. So Clint, how about ordering 3 more of these mics? So everybody has a mic, and then you know what I think we need to do is, do we have one of them, conference call,
Oh, yeah.
modules, so we can just put it here,
So we
so.
can page them into the
I think,
Yeah.
audio system.
Yeah, definitely.
So if we can go ahead and get these mics, so everybody, so,
Can't get mine to reach though.
well, we can
It's
pull
a
it up.
longer cord.
Yeah, well, no, it just needs to be pulled
cord's
up.
caught by the
Right,
cord.
it's, so.
Or do we need to cut a hole in the desk, so? Drill a hole.
Okay, so I see that we have a closed meeting. If someone wants to make a motion to close the open and go into closed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to meet immediately in closed meeting to discuss character, professional competence, physical or mental health of an individual, the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of water right or water shares, collective bargaining pursuant to Utah Code 52-4-204 through 205.
I'll second that.
In motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
It is 11:45 or 44.
11:44.
12:52.
12:52, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to close the close and to reopen the public board meeting.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We didn't take nothing in close, so we're good. Anything else, any other business?
No,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. It
second
is
that.
Been motion second,
12:52.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is a good one.